Welcome everyone to the GovHack Australia launch live stream. Thank you for those joining us in throughout Australia in our regional channels, where you heard about the regional activities, and you'll hear about the challenges in both the Australian, international, and regional ones shortly. So, my name is Jason Weagle. I am the operation lead for GovHack this year, as well as the director and chair of GovHack Australia Limited. I'm joined here also by Olivia Lamb, the competition lead. Before we get started, I would like to pause to reflect on the fact that we reside on the lands of the world's oldest living civilization. I pay my respects to the Yagara people and the Turrbal people, the traditional custodians of the land where I'm streaming from, and the Darug people, the traditional custodians of the land where Olivia is streaming from. I acknowledge the traditional custodians of the various lands from where all of you are watching, and all the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples participating in GovHack. I pay my respects to elders past, present, and celebrate the diversity of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples and their ongoing culture and connections to the lands and waters of Australia.
Thanks, Jason. So firstly, we'd like to give a big thank you to all of our sponsors. Firstly, we have our lead international sponsor, Infosys. Thank you very much. We've also got our international sponsors and partners, Confluent and Slack. We have Australian Bureau of Statistics, Australian Taxation Office, Department of Education, Skills and Employment, as well as Telstra and Microsoft as our Australian national sponsors. For our Australian community partners, we'd like to thank AARNet, Hackathons International, as well as the Luma Institute. So we're now going to have a sponsor presentation from Infosys. Tonight we've got Andrew Goff. He's the Senior Vice President, as well as the CEO of Australia and New Zealand for Infosys. Andrew has been a long-time sponsor of ours, and today he's going to speak about their participation in GovHack.
Good afternoon, good evening everyone. I'd like to start by acknowledging the traditional custodians where I'm coming in from today, the Camaragal people of the Eora Nation. I'd like to thank their elders, past and present, for looking after these lands and these waterways for many, many generations. And to all of you, wherever you're coming in from today, I pay my respects to the Aboriginals and Torres Strait Islanders, and kia ora to all our colleagues in New Zealand and the Maori and Pacific Islands. A big welcome to everyone to GovHack 2021. My name is Andrew Groff. I lead the Infosys business across Australia and New Zealand, and I'm really delighted to be here with you today for this opening session of GovHack. Infosys is a global leader in next generation digital skills and consulting services, and our role in life is to help organisations navigate their digital transformation. We work with businesses, we work with governments around the world, and here in Australia and New Zealand, it's how we help organisations move to that digital outcome that they're trying to achieve. And I'm really delighted to be part of GovHack this year with you all. I had hoped this year we'd be doing it in person again. Unfortunately, that doesn't look to be the case. Many of you I know are in lockdown. We're all dealing with this environment, but I know GovHack will be a great success in the virtual environment, just as it was last year. And I do hope next year we're back to an in-person environment. This is actually our 4th year of being the lead international sponsor for GovHack, something that I'm very proud about this association, and I look forward to this every year. It's a great relationship, and it's a great festival of ideas. How we take technology, how we take skills and ideas and create these wonderful ideas across Australia and New Zealand that really impact the community that we're living in is just brilliant. It's all about taking digital skills, taking technology-driven innovation, access to open data, and creating those new ideas that can really help us in the economy in many, many ways. The spirit of GovHack is about government, it's about private enterprises, it's about people, and it's about ideas, solving challenges, some of the greatest challenges that we need to deal with across our countries. And GovHack aligns really well with the strategy and the culture of emphasis. I talked before about this move of the next transformation, the next digital transformation, and that needs next generation digital talent. And this is all about the talent, the amazing talent we have across Australia and New Zealand. And this year, as you work in the GovHack environment, I'm really pleased to say once again, we're going to help you with that talent and with that skills by making available our learning platform, Wingspan. That will help you with digital skills in areas that you might want to learn further. I'd also like to make a really big shout out to the GovHack team. I mean, creating this experience, creating this hybrid environment that we're operating in, it certainly takes a lot of work and effort, and I'd like to thank the GovHack team for once again making that possible in 2021. And I'd also like to acknowledge all the other partners and sponsors right across the private and public sector who are helping this fantastic hackathon this year, bringing ideas, bringing data, and bringing digital technology. So I'm really looking forward to seeing those ideas, as I mentioned, and I was really looking forward to seeing you at the GovHack Red Carpet Awards later in the year to celebrate all the great ideas and successes. So I wish you all the very best. Please take advantage of the data, the technologies, the Wingspan platform I mentioned. And as you're going along the way, don't forget to have a bit of fun. You'll be working on some great challenges. You'll be really making an impact and a difference. I wish you all the very best. Happy GovHack 2021. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrew, for that talk. We'll hear a little bit from Andrew later when he introduces the challenges from Emphasis. So what is GovHack exactly? GovHack is a festival of ideas. Over 46 hours, we run a hackathon, which is taking place this weekend in some cities and towns across Australia and New Zealand, and in many of people's houses, as we see people working from home a lot currently due to the lockdown restrictions. Teams will work together to create mashups and visualizations to look at new and engaging ways to use open government data. With this open government data, we're looking at ways to make our communities better places. With the challenges being announced shortly at 7 p.m, you'll then spend 46 hours from then reusing this open data and developing new and interesting ideas, which can be developed into proof of concepts, where you'll be able to document your data story, as well as making sure to cite any open data sets that you utilize in your project entry. With your proof of concept done, you'll develop a 3-minute video pitch, which lets our judges know all about your project, what data sets that you used, and tells how the data was used within here. I'm going to let people know that if you want to get a bite to eat, our sponsor, Confluent, is going to be providing food for hackers this weekend. They have vouchers available for Uber Eats for $30, where if you go to govhack.org/confluent-food, you will be able to sign up to get some food vouchers to the value of $30 this evening, tomorrow, and on Sunday. It's first in, best dressed for this, but you can only get one a day. More information is available on the link. Over to Liv to tell us about the competition logistics.
Great. So the next thing we're going to go through is how to get started. So whether it's your first time at GovHack or you're a returning competitor, what you want to do is get onto govhack.org/handbook, and there you'll find all the competition rules and information about where to go for what as well. So once you've gone onto the handbook, you'll notice that the first thing that will point you to do is get onto Slack. So Slack is where we're going to be posting announcements. It's where you can find other team members, and it's where you'll be chatting throughout the competition. If you're returning, you can go straight to govhackhq.slack.com. But if you're a new participant and you're going to need to set up a new Slack account with us, you're heading to govhack.org/Slack. We've got a couple of channels here for you to get started in. So you might want to think about joining Help Mentors, Team, Hackerspace, and Tech. You can post the related questions in there. Each of our sponsoring organisations also have their own channel. So for example, if you've got a Victorian Government Challenge, you will want to go into Talk Data Vic to get help from there. If you've not seen Hackerspace before, Hackerspace is the website where we're posting the challenges, and it's where you're going to go to upload your projects as well as create your profiles. And so once you've registered, you want to register for an actual event. And then what you want to do is you want to be clicking to publish your profile. And to do that, once you've logged in, you're clicking your image at the top right of the screen. You're going to come to this page, which is what you're seeing on your screen right now. You're going to click Publish Profile, fill in your details. And once you've filled in your details, you will appear in the Profiles tab as well, and you'll be searchable. So once you've got your profile started, you can now create a new project. And so to do that, you just have to click Project from the top, and then you're going to click Create New Team Project. Once you've got a project, so I've got an example here, the Garlic project, you can see who's in the team. And then you can also access the button, which is called Slack Chat with the team members. You can do this with your own team, or if you're looking for a team and you see a project that's really interesting, you might want to click this button. And what this does is if you've got the Slack desktop app, it will automatically open up their conversation, and you can jump in and you can say, hey, I'm really liking what you're doing. I noticed that you're looking for more team members. I'd like to join, and maybe you can start a conversation. If you wanted to speak to just one team member rather than the whole team, what you can do is look at the team members and click on someone. So if I click on Jafar, for example, that brings me to Jafar's profile page, and then you'll see at the top, they've got open a Slack chat with this user, and so you can contact him or her directly. If you notice that that's not there, it might mean that the other person hasn't connected their Slack, or you haven't connected yours. So just make sure you've got your Slack connected to your Hackerspace, and that would have been done when you're publishing your profile. So now you've got your profile published, you've got your team created. What you can do now is have a look at the challenges available this year. And so you're clicking them at the top, and then you're reading each challenge. When you see a challenge that you think you want to enter, all you have to do is click Enter Challenge at the bottom of each page. We've got a couple of things for you to note. So firstly, each project, so each solution that you create, you can enter this into up to 5 challenges. So you can do one solution and you might think, oh, this actually solves a couple of different challenges. That's actually really good. We love it when you mash up data sets and do that. And so you can use that for 5 challenges. What you can't do is you can't duplicate that project and enter more than 5. So you can't be entering this into 5 and then you duplicate into another 5, which adds up to 10. So that we won't allow. Another question that we often get, because we do have a lot of digital competitors, is what region you're allowed to participate in. So you might notice when you go on that some challenges are open to everyone. Some are only open to Australia, some are only open in New Zealand, or some are only open to a certain state or territory. And so the way we determine whether you're eligible or not is your team's region. And so I'm from New South Wales, for example, and Jason is from Queensland. If we were to form a team, we could pick whether or not we wanted to be a New South Wales team or a Queensland team, but we wouldn't be able to say that we're a WA team unless we found someone who's from WA, and then we would be allowed to do that. And so the examples that we've got on here, for example, is, we've got Jason. We might want to say we're from Queensland. That would mean we can enter all Queensland challenges, all Australian challenges, and all international challenges.
So on the Hackerspace, you'll also find a whole lot of resources that you can utilize. We have data portals, links, we have data sets, and we have tech. Make sure to check out the tech to see some of the cool things that are provided by our sponsors for this year on the different tech platforms that they're providing to you to utilize. We have a large number of data sets. You see that I can't even fit them all on my screen here for these, and there's multiple tabs after this with more loaded in after I took this screenshot. So these link to some of the key data sets that you may be interested in using in your challenge, and are ones that our sponsors think might be useful to you. We also have the data portals, which you can get data from. This is a non-exhaustive list, but it has many of the different data portals that you find around Australia and New Zealand. These will link off to data portals such as the Australian government one, which is data.gov.au. Each state and territory around Australia also then has their own data portals. Each of them can be accessed to find local-based information. And then if you're even after even more local-based information, some councils around Australia also have their own data portals, such as Sydney, Brisbane, Sunshine Coast, Melbourne. You can find out all these data portals linked there as well. So make sure to go and check those out. You would have seen when you joined up to your region-based Zoom calls earlier, as well as when you were signing up to register for an event, the code of conduct that GovHack abides by. The number one priority that we have at GovHack is ensuring that it is a safe and harassment-free environment for everyone. And the too long didn't read version of it is be nice, play fair, don't make people upset. If you have any issues, please contact us using the contact at govhack.org email, and you can let us know of any issues that are going on, and we'll make sure that they get resolved. Across the weekend, we would love to see some photos of what you're doing, both at home for working on the project, as well as our various events where we do have physical locations, such as in Western Australia, South Australia, and Tasmania. So if you have any photos, please share them with us on social media using the hashtag GovHack. Or if you want to share them with us in a way that we could reuse them and make you the face of GovHack in future years, if you share them at govhack.org/photos-2021, this is where that we can, if you're happy to do so, share them under a CC BY license, which allows us to utilize your photos, but making sure that we acknowledge you for taking these photos in all locations. More information is available on that link on what this entails. If you're taking photos, however, please make sure that all people that are within the frame of the photo do consent to be in the photo. Don't take any photos of people that don't consent. If you're in one of the physical locations and you have one of the badges, there is a symbol on the badge with a camera. If that is crossed out, please do not take a photo of those people. Emphasis is also wanting to see some of the photos that you're taking through our Life Hacks Challenge. Emphasis is looking for the interesting life hacks that you may have, and they're looking to see these published on social media using the hashtag GovHackWithEmphasis, along with the life hack hashtag. If you tag these with the Twitter or the Instagram or Facebook accounts associated with Emphasis or GovHack, we'll be able to chase these down. If you do this before Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in Australia, you can go into the running to win a gift hamper from Emphasis. If you don't use social media, or if you want to have them shared privately, if you email it to lifehacks@govhack.org, we'll be able to chase these down. So heading over to Liv to hear about what is the weekend timeline.
So what we've put together is an overlay of the actual competition times, as well as some recommendations for what we see successful teams doing. So the first very important one that we're getting to very soon is the 7 p.m. AEST competition challenge is announced if you're participating in the Australian competition. So after 7 o'clock, you will be, you should be exploring the challenges, having a click around. You want to be speaking to mentors, start finding your group so that you can, start to brainstorm ideas. And then you want to be creating that project page on Hackerspace so you can, get started and see if you can invite some people. After that, Saturday morning is going to come about. So here you can still, be brainstorming ideas, but start to lock in which challenges. So you're going to narrow down which, problem statements do you want to solve. Here, if you want to be participating in some of the things that Jason just talked about, make sure you're taking photos, taking screenshots of your work, and you can use these later on as well when you're submitting your challenge. On Saturday, you'll be mocking up your prototype. You might be building it. You'll also be citing your data sets. So when you submit your challenge, we do ask that you note down what data sets you use, and we just find that it's easier to do that at the end if you take a record as you go. You might also want to be storyboarding your video. Your video is another thing that you have to submit, and you might want to start thinking about that on Saturday. One thing we always say is don't leave it to the last minute. And so with your project page, as you get information, start to fill that in on your project page, and that is what gets submitted at the end. And one important thing as well is, because you are building something new, you do have the chance to attach a license to it. And so we will ask everyone to attach an open source license. You can choose which type. And if you haven't come across this before, you can go to choosealicense.com and it will inform you, which ones you might want to do. At 7 p.m. on the Saturday as well, so 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Time, we have live stream trivia. This was super popular last year, so definitely get in early. It is very fun. It's just something that we do with the entire Australia and New Zealand. Come on, play a bit of trivia and just, have a bit of fun just for a little bit of the evening. On the Sunday, we'll be asking you, well, this is suggested, but you might want to think about finalizing your prototype, your idea, whatever it is you're building. Film the video that you have to publish onto your project page. Finish off your data citations, complete your data story. So this means the explanation about how you use data in your solution. Get your video uploaded. So do remember that it might take a while to upload the video, but when you're uploading the video, what's important is that link that you get. And so it's going to say your video is going to be uploaded to a specific link, and that link is what you're going to put onto your project page. Towards the end, once you've finished your solution, get that updated to something like a GitHub or a Bitbucket, wherever it goes. Make sure to include that license file that we talked about, and just finish off, polish your project page on Hackerspace and get all of that done by 5 p.m. Australian Eastern Time, as that's the competition deadline. Got a couple of last helpful hints for you. So we recommend that you get a mixed group of people. If you've got a team full of programmers, you're not going to have someone doing data. So a couple of the roles that you might want to think about having are, for example, programmers, a tech person, a data cruncher, so someone who knows their way around data sets, maybe a creative person, so this could be a front-end developer, it could be a UX designer, it could be someone who's really good with videos. You might want a facilitator or a problem solver. You might want someone that's a subject matter expert in one of the themes or one of the challenge areas, and also go for people from diverse backgrounds and life experiences. So try to choose someone that's, if you're a university student, maybe go for someone more senior than you. If you come from a certain background, find someone with different experiences, because that's how you're going to get really creative, really fun solutions. Okay, so I'm looking at my clock and it is almost launch time. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through some of the challenges that you're going to be able to see once 7 o'clock hits. So the first, and those are some badges that you can win as well, but we'll go through that a little bit later. Alrighty, so we've got Andrew Groth again from Infosys, and he's going to present to you one of the first challenges that we're very excited to share with you.
Now this year, there's going to be 3 challenges that we're setting: an international challenge, an Australia challenge, and a New Zealand challenge. And I'd just like to give you a little introduction to those. So first of all, the international challenge. This is the hack for a circular economy. How do we redesign? How do we rethink? How do we rebuild, reprioritize, reuse? How do we do this with digital infrastructure to create the right social, the right national outcomes for our developing economies? So that's our international challenge, the Hack for Circular Economy. Our Australia challenge for this year is about how do we better integrate digital government services. This is all about looking at how do we leverage those government services and make it easier and better for the citizens of Australia, and how do we address that need. And our third challenge for New Zealand is about our digital future. Of course, we've seen right across New Zealand significant advances in digital technology, partly driven by the pandemic that we're dealing with. But how do we accelerate the education and the employment opportunities with digital technology to help us in New Zealand be an advanced and leading digital economy in the years ahead? So there are three challenges this year, and I know you're all going to be working. I can't wait to see all the wonderful ideas and all the passion that you bring to that.
Yeah. Great. And so that was Andrew Goff from Infosys. And the Infosys has two challenges this year. And so the first challenge that they've got is available to everyone across Australia and New Zealand. And this one is about circular economy. So how do we redesign, rethink, repair, and repurpose spaces, places, materials, and digital infrastructure? The second challenge that Infosys has is available to Australian competitors. And so this one's about reimagining digital government services. So between Jason and I, we're going to go through all the international and Australian challenges. So I'm just going to hand over to Jason for the next one.
Okay, so for the international challenge that GovHack is presenting is around the health and well-being of autistic people during a pandemic. The COVID pandemic has negatively impacted mental health of people throughout the world. So we're looking to see what ways that we can improve the health and well-being of people that are within the autism spectrum, and see ways of making it better for them. We also have another international challenge from our sponsors, Confluent, who is looking at living in a post-pandemic world. So how you can utilize real-time data to assist with the preparation of ongoing management of living with COVID-19 as we progress towards a post-pandemic Australia.
So the first of our Australian challenges is from the Australian Government, Department of Education, Skills and Employment. And they're asking, how can the general public learn and be encouraged to interact with the Australian skills classification to identify skills within occupations, identify their own skill sets, and identify transferability to other occupations of interest?
Our sponsors, the Australian Taxation Office, has presented us with two challenges this year. They are, the first one is our financial future, looking at how that we might use public available data to safeguard our citizens' financial future, as well as their challenge, youth education and employment. How might we use publicly available data to identify education and employment opportunities for our youth?
With the Australian Bureau of Statistics, they've actually got a new ABS data API, and what this is enabling is machine-to-machine access. And so they have presented a challenge which gives you the opportunity to use data visualization, mapping, or blending of different data sources together. And so they're looking for a solution that uses the ABS data API that solves a need for a customer.
This is also quite an interesting time with the census just having occurred about a fortnight ago, in preparation for how we could utilize this data next year once the census information starts getting released.
That's absolutely right. And so with this next one, it's another Australian challenge. It's from Telstra Dev and Microsoft. And to speak about this one, we have Michelle Howe from Telstra.
Hi, I'm Michelle Howley and I'm Telstra's Developer Advocate. I'm here to challenge you with the Telstra and Microsoft Challenge for GovHack 2021. We're challenging you to use IoT insights for better regional agribusiness at scale. How might you harness open data and IoT data in near real time to enable local agribusinesses and farms in our regions to be more productive and sustainable at scale? It's a big question, right? We know that agribusiness needs to be more and more efficient and more sustainable, especially in the face of climate change, where environmental resources like water are becoming scarcer, right? We're also having problems with pesticides and other things in our farming practices. So if you haven't heard of the IoT, it's the Internet of Things. And that's where you can actually track a lot of information about your ecosystem. So think about water meters, soil pH monitors, temperature monitors, smart tractors. They're all IoT things that can bring in information to a system. There's lots of information that can be collected from a farm, but imagine when you pair that with the open data available as well. And I'm sure you can think of some really amazing solutions that are not only going to help individual farmers improve their practices, improve their productivity, their sustainability, their resilience, but also at a wider scale. What could we do if we paired IoT data from individual places with the open data at scale? So Telstra and Microsoft are challenging you to look at ways that you could use Internet of Things, including the Telstra network and the Azure IoT visualization tools, to make things better for agribusiness around Australia. Thanks. Looking forward to hearing what you come up with.
So as you can see, the challenge that Michelle's put to all of you is how to use IoT insights for better regional agribusiness at scale. Michelle and quite a few other Telstra mentors will be available on Slack throughout the weekend. And so to get access to the tools that she's mentioned, please reach out on the Hack Telstra Slack channel to get access. So one of the final things that we're going to cover are the prizes. So firstly, we've got cash prizes for if you place. And then in addition, we've also got other prizes as well. And so we've got the Spirit of GovHack, which is something that you are nominated for. And so if we see someone who really embodies the spirit, which is helping others out, learning, trying something new, then you can be nominated for this prize. We've also got prizes for the best youth team project as well. And so on your profile, if you are a youth competitor, please tick that box. And so we can include you when we're shortlisting. We've also got a People's Choice Prize, and this is at the end. Everyone gets a chance to vote on their favorite fellow project. And we've also got Hackerspace badges. So if you have a look at your profile, you'll notice the little badges section, and there you can be nominated for things. If we see you helping other people out, if we see you on Slack, if we see you posting a lot of positive social media posts as well, you can get a badge for all of that. You've also got a badge for trivia too, and the treasure hunt if you're participating. And there's an example of some of the prizes that you might want to win. There's quite a few, so we do encourage you to get on and create lots of solutions, basically.
Yep. These are real medallions that you can win. Last year, we needed to send these out rather than having this physical awards, but hoping this year to have physical locations where we can hand these medals to you directly.
All right, so thank you to everyone that has tuned in. That brings us to the end of the Australian opening for GovHack. We're now going to hand you back to the regional leads in their either in-person or digital Zoom openings, and they're going to introduce the regional-based challenges. So thank you for tuning in this evening. I wish you all the best of luck, and definitely try to have fun, because that's what it's supposed to be about. We look forward to seeing all the ideas that you come up with, and will be available on Slack to chat as well. Thank you very much.